Last one is solve quadratic linear systems level 2. So it's just a slightly harder version of the first one. All right, so first thing we want to do, it's still the same steps though, it's just slightly harder equations. So the same first step is let's make sure that y is by itself. Y is by itself in the first equation, good. Y is not by itself in the second equation. So how can we get y by itself? All you have to do is move the 3x over. Get it out of the way. Like that one song that has a bad word in it, so I can't say it. But y is equal to negative 3x plus 12. That is not written neatly, so I'm going to rewrite that just over here, okay? Y is equal to negative 3x plus 12. So now y is all by itself in this equation. So that means we are good to go with that one. In the first equation they gave us, the quadratic, it was already by itself, so we were good. From here on out, this problem is exactly the same as the ones in the last category. So that's why I only did 2 examples of the last category. Anyways, so we have y by itself. That means we can set them equal to each other. So we have, let's write that. Oh, I'll just write it over here. Negative x squared minus 10x plus 12 equals negative 3x plus 12. Notice I'm using this equation because this is the one where y is by itself. All we did was take the one they gave us and rearrange it so that y is by itself. Remember, we want y to be by itself. Once y is by itself, we set them equal to each other. Let's bring everything to one side. I like x squared to be positive, so I'm going to add x squared. So this one's going to cancel out. We get negative 10x plus 12 equals x squared minus 3x plus 12. And then I'm going to add 10x to both sides. I get 12 is equal to x squared plus 7x plus 12. And then I'm going to subtract 12. I get 0 is equal to x squared plus 7x. Cancels out, so plus 0. So I did not need to write the plus 0, but I am writing it because I want to really emphasize that if the 12 and the minus 12 cancel each other out, it's the same as just adding a 0 there. And why do I want to do it that way? Well, because when I go over here to do my x factor, it makes it a little bit easier to see what we want. So on the top of your x factor, what you're going to do is place the, what color did I use? Place the 0. You want your numbers to multiply to 0. And then what do you put on the bottom? I forgot what color I used. I think I used this one. You're going to put that on the bottom. You want your numbers to add to 7. So what numbers will multiply to 0 and add to 7? Well, if you want it to multiply to 0, that means you need to have 0 as one of your numbers. Because 0 times anything is 0. It's the only way you're going to get a product of 0 is if one of the numbers you're multiplying is 0. So I have 0 and 7. 0 times 7 will multiply to 0. 0 plus 7 add up to 7. So these are our numbers. Then I'm going to rewrite this. Oof, where do I have space? Okay. Okay, I'll just write it here. 0 is equal to x plus 0 times x plus 7. And remember to solve for the x values. I'm going to do that on this side. You're going to set each factor equal to 0. So we have x plus 0 equals 0. And also x plus 7 equals 0. So we have 2 little answer sets that we're going to do. Let's do the x plus 7 one first. So we're going to subtract 7. Those cancel out. X equals negative 7. This one, x plus 0 is just x. So x is equal to 0 for this one, and x is equal to negative 7 for that one. Are there any questions up until here before we get our y values? All right, so we got our x values. We just want to get our y values now. So what equation should I use to get our y values? I'm going to use this equation because it's the simpler of the 2 equations that has y equals in it. So I'm going to write that over here. Y equals negative 3x plus 12. Okay, so into this equation, let's plug in our first number, which is the x equals negative 7. So y will then equal negative 3 parentheses negative 7 plus 12. And I got that equation from this. I'm just plugging in the x value into the y equation. So then that gives me y is equal to 21 plus 12. Therefore, y is equal to 33. Okay, that gives us a point of negative 7 comma 33. That's our first point. The next point, I will do that in green. The next point is when x is equal to 0. So let's plug it into our y equation. Y is equal to negative 3 parentheses 0 plus 12. So y is equal to 0 plus 12, which is just equal to 12, because 0 plus anything is the anything. Therefore, our next point is 0, comma 12. The x value is 0, the y value is 12, and that is our final answer. So are there any questions for this problem? You can let me know as I am typing in the solutions over here. Negative 7, 33. Oops. Okay, so I typed it in. Are there any questions? Let me know in the chat. Type wait if you need me to wait for you to write. Type wait for, if you have a question. Type wait if you're just processing. 10 more seconds to let me know. Five more seconds. Okay, let's continue then. Oops, I guess I didn't pause. Whatever. Okay, let's submit the answer. Next problem. And clear the annotations because it's so messy. Okay, cool. So we're gonna, get y by itself, and then we can proceed as we have been. So in our first equation, y is by itself, which is great. And the next one, y is not by itself. So therefore, we're gonna subtract x. We get y by itself, because those cancel out, is equal to negative x plus 2. I'm going to rewrite that on top. Y is equal to negative x plus 2. And so now y is by itself in both equations. So once y is by itself in both equations, you may proceed as we have for the last 3 examples, the one in this video and the 2 from the other video. And what you do with that is you're going to set the equations equal to each other. So I have negative 2x squared minus 31x minus 106, big numbers, is equal to negative x plus 2. So let's bring everything to one side. I like the negative 2x squared. I'd like that to be positive, so I'm just going to bring that to the other side. That way those will cancel out. We'll get negative 31x minus 106 is equal to 2x squared, now positive, minus x plus 2. So I just brought that over. Then let's bring everything else over so that it's equal to 0. So plus 31x plus 31x cancels out. Negative 106 is equal to 2x squared plus 30x plus 2. Then finally plus 106 plus 106 cancels out. 0 is equal to 2x squared plus 30x plus 108. Now, these are big numbers. And also, we can do the x factor on this. If you want to just do it from here, totally fine. However, we can make it a little bit easier on ourselves because there's a 2x squared. We can divide everything by 2 so that we just have regular x squared. So 0 divided by 2 is still 0. 2x squared divided by 2 is just x squared, which is nicer. 30x divided by 2 is 15. x, and 108 divided by 2 is 54. So this makes it a lot nicer, and we can do our x factor on this thing. So here's my x. We're going to take the 54, positive, put it up here. You want numbers that multiply to positive 54. We're going to take this 15, put it on the bottom over here. We want numbers that add to 15. So the numbers that will work for this are 6 and 9. So 6 times 9 will multiply to 54, and 6 times 9 will add to 15. Therefore, we can rewrite this. I'm just going to rewrite it up here because I'm running out of space. 0 is equal to x plus 6 and x plus 9 multiplied together. Well, I barely have room for that, but I do, I guess. And then we're going to set each factor equal to 0. So x plus 6 equals 0 and x plus 9 equals 0. Solve for x. Okay, before I continue, are there any questions about this entire process up until here where we solved for our x value? So with these x values, we need to plug them in to this equation. So let me write that equation. All right, let's first plug in our x when it's negative 6. So y is equal to negative of negative 6 plus 2. This would be positive 6 because negative of negative 6 is positive 6. So 6 plus 2 is 8. So y is equal to 8. That means our point is negative 6 comma 8. So we have our purple point. Let's do the green point when x is negative 9. So then y is equal to negative x plus 2. So negative of negative 9 plus 2. This is positive 9. So it does not look like a positive 9. Positive 9 plus 2, which is 11. Therefore, your final point for this is negative 9 comma 11. And that's our green point. So we have a purple point and we have a green point. Let me type those in over here. Okay, so are there any questions for this problem? Okay, so we've done examples from each of those categories. You guys can let me know if you have any other questions, but that's pretty much it for these videos.